What is up, all of my horror fanatics out there? Welcome back to Late Night Frights. I'm the Late Night Frights horror leader, the J. Sloan or Jordan, back here to do another video for you. And as always, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Now, last week we did a theme, and if you haven't checked that out yet, please go do so. We did our Neo Monsters theme, and it was a great week overall. So this week we are doing horror battles, and the two films I chose to kickstart the week with and battle are two slasher films, splatter films, exploitation films, whatever subgenre you want to categorize them in. And the first one is the Toolbox Murders versus the New York Ripper. Okay, so before the battle begins, you guys know how we do things around here. I'm going to review both films very briefly, and then I will battle them to the death. I'm going to start off by reviewing the Toolbox Murders, which was made in 1978, which is strangely the same year the classic and my personal favorite horror film of all time was made. You guys know what that is. That is Halloween. So this film is starring Cameron Mitchell, Pamela Fairden, and I'm sorry, I'm reading this off the back now because these are some weird names, some of them especially. Wesley Ure, I'm not exactly sure, and is directed by Dennis Donnelly. So the Toolbox Murders is basically, to sum it up, it is a handyman killer, hence the Toolbox Murders, packing a toolbox around with him and using various tools of the trade to kill these teen girls. And basically these are bad girls who are really sexy and they do things, they're very sexually active, and they're just not good girls. They're not your average, good girls, which really it's hard to find these days anyway. And even back in the 70s, it was still hard to find. I mean, these girls are 15 and 16 years old. They're sexually active, and they're just bad girls. So, the handyman going around this specific, it's kind of like an apartment complex, really, just a project, killing these girls. And he does it, like I said, with all these different instruments, all these different tools that he uses and pulls out of his toolbox. It's really cool. That's the basic plot. It dives deeper into whodunit kind of thing throughout the entire film. It's trying to find out who is killing these females, why is he doing it. The cops are trying to figure out, they're in a bind. They can't really decipher who it is. They have suspects here and there, but they can never pinpoint one person. For me personally, I knew who it was when I saw the guy, when I first saw the guy appear in the film. His interview he had with the cops was fishy, and I was like, he killed him, because it just made so much sense. How these girls died, and how the intruder entered their homes, and how he was there randomly, and how he could just enter at will into their homes anytime, and it made sense. They tried to kind of throw us, like I said, throw us off and say that this person did it, this person did it. No, it's pretty basic. It's pretty, common. If you watch the film, you'll probably be able to tell. If you're a true horror fan, even if you're not, you can just see something and be like, that guy's fishy. He did it, and, there's a bigger motive towards the end of the film for why he's doing it, which really just sums up that he's a fucking nut, pretty much, and that's it. The Toolbox Murders, that's my review over the plot. Let's talk about the cast, the characters, the direction, everything within the film. The gore was good. There was some really cool scenes with the nail gun. There was some with a hammer, really cool bloody scene, very gory. The cast, some of them was believable, some of them was trying too hard, and some of them was just inexperienced, plain and simple. You can see that right off the bat in the film. Direction was good for what the film is, for what the film was. The dialogue, guys, it's the plot is so shaky. It's not really to be taken like, ooh, let's study the dialogue in this film. It's not that kind of film. Watch it, enjoy it, have fun, chilling, watching this slasher, splatter, whatever you want to call it, type film. And if you're not into these types of films, if you're not into really gory films, this one might not adapt with you, or might not go over well with you, I guess I should say. You might not enjoy it. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. There are slow moments, and it really tries to play the viewers off like we're stupid, when it's very easy to see who is doing the murder, who is committing these crimes and killing these females, or these teens, I guess you could say, because that's basically what they are. Yeah, Toolbox Murders, fun, watch. Found myself enjoying it. The fact that it was made in 1978 was really cool too. Kind of a younger slasher. Yeah, the Toolbox Murders. I would, I'd recommend giving it a watch. Like I said, not everyone's going to love it, but what can you do? Give it a watch, see if you like it. If you don't, I would say this Blu-ray only cost me like $10, so it's definitely worth $10 if you want my personal opinion. If I had to rate it out of 5, I'm going to go maybe 2.8, 3 out of 5, something like that. It's good, but not great. And the direction was pretty good by Dennis Donnelly with what he had to work with the scripts, and even the actors with their scripts. So, yeah, the Toolbox Murders. There is my review for this film. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and review The New York Ripper, which was made in 1982. This film was directed by Lucio Fulci. Once again, let me check on the cast. None of the cast members within each film, either The New York Ripper or The Toolbox Murders, are familiar casts, so I have to look and see who they are. Starring Jack Headley, Elmania Killer, Howard Ross, Andrew Painter, Alexandria Delacouli. Sorry, I'm pronouncing some of these wrong. Like I said, they're just not too familiar actors, to me anyway, so not familiar faces within this film. But the director is very familiar, Lucio Fulci. So, The New York Ripper follows somewhat of a similar plot as The Toolbox Murders. It's a really stalk and slash kind of movie, as expected within a slasher or splatter film, as these are. The plot's really not, it's not an intricate plot, it's not too detailed, and it's really not to be looked into quite literally. It's really just to put in, pop in, watch, enjoy. That's it. It's it kind of takes you away from the real world for a little bit. It's just put in a movie for an hour and a half and watch it, and then that's no real how do I say this? It's not going to win any Oscars, as it hasn't. It was made in 1982. That's really the easiest way to put it, and that's how most of these horror films are. Some people don't like that. Us here on Late Night Frights and us within the horror community, we love that. I mean, it's what we love within film. Some people just don't get into it. So The New York Ripper, stalk and slash, pretty much the Donald Duck killer. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Donald Duck killing, once again, beautiful women for no apparent reason at the beginning, and then there is a motive towards the end of the film, which is to be expected within a slasher film. So that's pretty much all I can say about this one. At first it's random females, and it leads to one female in particular who doesn't die, and she encounters this serial killer twice. The cops are trying to find out who it is. Once again, they're throwing you in the midst of it, throwing you in the middle, and pretty much saying, this is who did it. 30 minutes later, no, they didn't do it, somebody else did it. The body was dead 8 days ago. The killer we thought committed the crime died 4 days ago. Just things like that. Really, whodunit kind of thing, much like the Toolbox Murders. And this one was a little harder for me to pinpoint who actually committed the crimes. Now, the Toolbox Murders was very, very easy for me. Now, this one, it was back and forth between 3 people. I'm not going to say who it was. I wasn't surprised when I found out who it was, because he was one on my suspect list, and it turned out to be him and, his motive. That's all I'm going to say. Really good slasher movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. I enjoyed the gore within the film. There's one scene with the razor blade that is messed up. I mean, the gore is just crazy. Lucio Fulci does that great anyway within his film, so going into it, I knew it was going to be, sort of that gore fest of a movie, kind of how much you can handle kind of film, with an interesting plot to a certain degree, but nothing really to look into and say, oh, let's dissect this movie into pieces. It's pretty plain and simple and right out there in front of your face. That's what I love about it. What I love about both these movies, and I thought was great within them. They took themselves seriously to a certain point and then just said, let's have fun with the rest of the film. There were some weird and wacky moments in this. There is a live, what is it? Kind of like a porno. It's a lot live nude people having sex on stage. Back in the day when they used to do that, you could go in, sit in a theater, actually watch people having sex. And there's one weird scene, and there's a weird scene in a diner where there's some foot action going on under a table. I'm not going to go into that. That was really weird. A lot of weird things in this movie. A guy with 2 fingers, and he's suspect. He's one of the suspects to have killed some of these women, and he's really weird. Just weird actors in general. The direction by Lucio Fulci was good. I mean, I thought the movie was well paced. It wasn't slow and it wasn't fast, and it didn't really lose my interest. There was one issue with this movie, and I will go into it. Now, I don't know if it's with the movie itself or just with this Blue Underground release, and I don't know if anybody else had this issue, but me personally, the audio was out of sync bad within this film. Out of sync with the actors' lip movements. It just wasn't in sync with it at all, and that took me out of the movie a big time too. But I knew I wanted to battle this, so I stuck it out and watched it. Don't want to do it again. I'll have to find another release if I do want to watch this movie, because I cannot handle that within a movie. If the audio is not synced up with their lips, I just can't handle it. It's just very aggravating. I'm very picky when it comes to that. Other than that, the PQ was good, and direction was good. Acting was okay, just very awkward, which that's how they had to play it. Good slasher film, I would say. Definitely give the New York Ripper a watch. This one's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but you'll have to give it a viewing and see what you think. There's my review over the New York Ripper. Okay, so now that I've reviewed both of these films, it is time to battle them to the death. Starting with round one, kills. Which film do I think had better kills and more enjoyable kills? Now, they both had a fair amount of kills within each film. That's their base. That is where they lie, and that's where the money is within these movies. It's not the story, it's not the cast, it's really within the kills and the gore and the amounts that they can show. So with kills, I'm going to have to go with the Toolbox Murders, guys. It was cool to see the kills with the all the tools of the trade, everything he pulled out of the toolbox he used. And that was really interesting to see something different, something I hadn't seen within a horror film, a killer carrying around a toolbox, which is accurate with the title, I guess, a handyman, if you will. So it was really cool. This one had good kills in it. So round one goes to the Toolbox Murders. Round two, story and originality. Which film do I think had a better story, and which film do I think was more original? Neither of these films was too extremely original. They're both coming from a time where slasher films were a dime a dozen. I think that's easy to say. Which one did I enjoy more? The Toolbox Murders was interesting, especially when the plot was revealed. The New York Ripper didn't really handle the motive too well, I didn't feel. So I'm going to go with the Toolbox Murders, because it was really interesting. Once the actual motive of the killer was revealed, it was very interesting and very creepy to see why he is doing these things. And, so round two, once again, goes to the Toolbox Murders. Round three, blood, guts, and gore, and effects. Which film do I think had better blood, guts, and gore, and effects? So, both of these had good gore. Like I said before, that's where the film's strength was in each. So I'm going to go with the New York Ripper. The scene, like I said, with the razor blade was just insane, and every other scene that had the killer actually committing these crimes to these women, each time it was brutal, and each time it was messed up to watch. And the New York Ripper takes round three in blood, guts, and gore. Round four, acting and directing. Which film do I think had better acting and better directing? Neither film, like I said, they're not going to win an Oscar. They're not winning any awards. I mean, which they haven't already. It's been many, many years. I'm going to go directing with Lucio Fulci, and I'm going to go acting with the Toolbox Murders. So I guess I'll go ahead and give the New York Ripper a round for better directing, and a more experienced director, I would say, although Dennis Donnelly did a really good job with the Toolbox Murders. Lucio Fulci is known for the great horror films that he's done, whether you consider them to be great or whether you don't. He is a noticed and, he is a memorable director. People know about Lucio Fulci, and I think he did the best with what he had in here. I know a lot of people give the New York Ripper a low rating, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think his directing was really what held the movie together. The weird and wacky directing that he had within the film, and the even weirder cast. So, the New York Ripper takes round four. Okay, so the final round, personal enjoyment and replayability. Which film do I personally enjoy more, and which film would I pop in right now and watch? And guys, I like both of them. Thought they were both fun to watch, but I'm going to have to go with the Toolbox Murders. So, the Toolbox Murders, I think the casting was better. I think the acting overall, some of it was a bit overacted, but overall I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the acting, directing, the plot, everything within it. The scenery, enjoyed everything about this one. Although there was some letdowns, but I thought the motive was better, and I thought the scripting was a little bit better. There was some weak lines within both films. Like I said, it's just it's to be expected. But me personally, I enjoyed the Toolbox Murders. I'm gonna invent a movie. I'm going to write and direct a movie called the Toolbox Murders. So stay tuned for that. Just joking, guys. But the Toolbox Murders wins this battle. It has taken the cake. It's come out on top. It is victorious. The Toolbox Murders is the winner. So, doesn't mean the New York Ripper is bad in any way. I would give it a watch. Some people's not going to like it. Some people will. You'll just have to check it out and see for yourself. So, thank you so much for watching. That is my battle over the Toolbox Murders and the New York Ripper. Comment down below. Tell me what you think of these two horror films. Which film will win in your battle? I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on both films. I'm the Jay Sloan. You just watched Late Night Frights. Stay tuned, guys. Tomorrow, Chris Brock will be battling two films of his choice, and that will continue through on out the week with all of our members. So, once again, thanks for watching. I'm the Jay Sloan. Comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, keep it horror. Peace.